tell you what you did wrong.
Yeah, I like genuinely don't know.
You had a really tight grip on me.
Oh.
And sometimes you acted like you literally wanted nobody else in the world to exist but me and you. And it drove me absolutely insane.
Yeah, I get that.
And you wanted to know what I was doing, where I was at, who I was talking to 24/7. It's like you would die if you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I talked to my psychiatrist about that, and she said that's a lot to do with my past and my trauma with being like in foster care and stuff. I have talked to her about it, and that's obviously something I'm gonna be talking to the therapist about eventually.
She's like, you focus too much on the past. You blame the past for everything that's happening to you now, and you're not moving on from it. And I feel like that's still a big part of what's going on with her now. Like, she's still focused on what all has happened in the past, and she's not moving forward.
That's very true. Mm-hmm.
After she quit, she really wanted me to, when I went on lunch, because we only got a 30-minute lunch, we got 2 15s and a 30. And during lunch, she wanted me to sit in my car and call her and just talk to her on my 30 minutes of lunch, which wouldn't have been a big deal. But I don't know, like, it was like I had to, you know? I didn't have a choice. Like, I couldn't be like, oh, you know, actually I wanted to hang out with so-and-so during lunch, you know, whatever. No.
And I said no!
That was not an option. Let me see. I had friends that I wanted to hang out with, but Amberlynn only really wanted me to sit with either with Charla or be in my car and talk to her. That was literally it. Like, I could go on lunch with Charla. Me and her could talk. Or we would end up calling Amberlynn whatever anyway. Amberlynn wanted me to call her, and I did lie to her. Okay, so I'll admit to that. I lied to her and said that they were doing announcements at lunch that were important, so I couldn't call her. Like, I had to stay in the building. But I only lied to her because if I told her, no, I'm going to sit with them, it would have been like this whole argument. It would have been this whole big deal.
Oh, don't get me started.
And I just didn't see the point. Like, why couldn't I just hang out with my friends? But to her, that was just such an issue. So Amberlynn texted Charla about these announcements, and of course Charla didn't know what she was talking about. So she said we didn't have any, and Amberlynn was going off on me. But this was towards the end of lunch, and at that job you cannot bring your phone. At this one, like at the old building, we weren't able to bring it into the building at all, but at this new building we had like a cafeteria type area with lockers, and then you went into like the locked side of the building. We couldn't bring our phones into that locked side. Like, they had to stay in our lockers. So she was going off. I didn't have time to argue with her. I had to put my stuff up and I had to go to work. I don't really remember talking to her on my last 15 of the night. I know it was a Friday. I said the drive home was about 30 minutes, and you know, she called me. We were going off on each other, just screaming back and forth, and I was just tired of arguing with her and her trying to be so controlling. And I literally broke up with her, and then I hung up. Charla started trying to start some drama between me and Amberlynn with Dana. Just like, she was just like spying on me, basically. She would just like text Amberlynn and be like, oh, this is what she's doing. But it literally, like, we broke up. It wasn't her business. It was whatever, you know? Like, I wasn't in Amberlynn's business asking her anything, because we were broke up. Like, what's the point? She was just very controlling and wouldn't let me do what I wanted to do. It was always what she wanted to do. So there you go.
She went as far when I would hang out with my best friend Alex. She's been my best friend since high school. God, we're like, it seems like we're related, so we call each other cousins. But when I would hang out with her, she would be okay at first. And all of a sudden, I'd get text messages an hour later bitching me out for hanging out with her. She went as far as to accuse me of sleeping with my best friend. Accused me of sleeping with my best friend. I'd never do that. Ever. No, I cannot sleep with my best friend. That's weird and awkward, and no.
Give us examples of why her attitude was bad. I don't know. It's just like I'm comparing it to a 2-year-old, because you know how a 2-year-old is. Most people have been around a 2-year-old. If they're not getting their way, they're making a fuss about it. They're going to try and make sure everyone else is miserable around them because they're not getting their way. You see? Amberlynn did have a very bad attitude, just in general. Just with anything, like if she wasn't kind of getting her way, if it just wasn't going the way she wanted to do it. Like, this was as long as I've known her, not just when we were together, and even after, so.
And so, like, yeah, I played the game for a little while, and then, you know, it started becoming a problem because I guess Amberlynn started becoming attached, you know, as far as asking me questions, as far as, like, what am I doing? Why didn't I respond within so much amount of time, like clocking my response minutes. You know, she kind of used her BPD as a crutch, saying, you know, me not responding to her in like a timely manner, you know, triggered her. And so it was almost like I was being like forced to you know, react to her and to interact with her. And so she was like, you're always choosing your wife, you're always choosing her. And, you know, it was Valentine's Day. And she's like, you never choose me, you know, I'm always a second option. But meanwhile, before all this had happened, she was talking to, I'd say, like, I want to say 2 people at the time. It was some girl named Abby and then some other girl named Danielle. And then, like, Alexis, of course, like, was her friend. But, you know, Amber has said things over the phone I can't prove through text about Alexis and her ordeal, but I'll get into that later. So things just kind of felt uncomfortable, and I kept interacting. You know, we were in an emotional relationship. She was feeding me the shit she feeds everybody else, and I fell for it.
I'm not really a jealous person. I don't get jealous of other people's money or other people's looks or other people's this or that. What I do get jealous about, though, is like stuff in relationships. Like when I'm in a relationship, like I am a jealous girlfriend. I don't know if that's like part of like an insecurity of mine or if that's like BPD. I don't know what it is, but I do get kind of jealous, pretty jealous. And I'm actually working really hard on that. And I feel like I have gotten a lot better. The only thing I can do is improve and try not to like show my jealousy too much, if you know what I'm saying. But when I'm in love with someone, they become my everything. And I know it's because of the BPD. I know it's because of the anxious attachment. So it gets so bad, it's to the point where it's like my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts, the way my day goes, etc., is all based on the way that they are treating me. One small change or tweak in tone or words can literally feel like the end of the world to me. I never understood why. I always thought I was just dramatic. That's what I was called, you know, my whole life in relationships. It's just like, you're dramatic. Why are you so irrational? Why do you act this way? Like you're just being crazy. Like hearing those things constantly, it's just like, yeah, that's how I felt. Like I'm just being dramatic. I'm just drama queen. And it's just like, no, like now that I know the reason, it's like, wow, I have BPD. That's why I'm doing this. Like, I know this isn't normal. I know this isn't rational. Having that answer has helped me so much. Like, you guys have no idea how empowering it is to have an answer. I might actually give an example. So say someone I'm in a relationship with usually messages me every morning at 9 a.m. and says good morning to me. That's something I'm used to. That's something that I expect. So if it comes 9:30, I start to think they hate me. They want nothing to do with me. They're cheating on me. That's where my brain goes automatically. I'm not gonna lie, it would probably start happening around 9:03 a.m. So then what that would cause me to do is text them. Why haven't you talked to me? Is everything okay? Like multiple texts. Because not only is that my BPD being like triggered, but it's also my anxious attachment being triggered. But now that I have the answers, where in the past, if I did that, that would just be me being dramatic. I'm a crazy girlfriend. Like, what the heck are you doing? Now it's like, if that was to happen, I would send one text. You okay, babe? You know, a simple, you okay? Yes, I'd still be like on the inside having a little bit of anxiety, like, oh my God, what's happening? Because I can't change those things about myself right now. That's gonna come with time, that's gonna come with therapy, that's gonna come with help. But the fact that I'm able to stare the same situation in the face, whereas it happening 3 years ago and I freaked the F out, or it happening now and I'm like, it's gonna be okay, Amberlynn. I thoroughly feel like my psychologist from Kentucky changed my life. Like, because I'm able to see things so different than I was prior to the diagnosis.
So the horseshoes and bean bags and her.